Welcome into the show this week in Missouri Politics, midweek update. Very glad to be coming to you today. Give everyone a moment so we can be totally joined in by everybody who is out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're always very grateful to not just our readers or our viewers of the show, but everybody that watches our midweek update. Very glad to have you here. We have the Stein all set and primed. Big week. It's kind of like, jump right into it this week. This is the week before the storm, kind of calm before the storm type thing. It is a big week. If we just had this much news any other week, we'd think it was the greatest week of all time. But it's kind of setting the stage for not only the week of the trial, but then the first week of special session where I think you might see some impeachment stuff. Let's start off with the big thing. What does the trial mean? So I guess the governor's going to show up tomorrow. They'll do jury selection, and I guess they'll start a trial. I don't know. Maybe Monday. So what does it mean for as far as him? Obviously, the lawyers here will know more than I know about what it means legally and all those things. What it looks to me like as far as impeachment, I think it means not much. I'm not sure that it has a lot of value if it's factored in as far as impeachment goes. I think that if there's three things. If he's found guilty, obviously there'll be a big to-do, and he'll appeal it. He won't leave. The folks that talk about resignation, I've always said this, just stop. I mean, I think it's a sucker play. You know, you get spot somebody that doesn't follow Missouri politics well. They're talking about whether Ed Grimes will resign or whether he won't. That he's not going to resign. So if he's found guilty, he'll say there's a bunch of liberals in the city he chose to live in, but they'll say it's a bunch of liberals and there's nothing about this that's fair and I was wronged, and he will bounce and say he'll appeal and he won't leave. If he's found not guilty, he will come out. It'll be a very good day for him. Look, when you have a trial and you're found not guilty, that's good. I don't know what that feels like, so I would governor have an experience that I don't. But I think it'll be a good day for him, and I think he'll be able to say that a jury of his peers said when he did these things and to this woman, his phone wasn't connected to his cloud, and that'll help his case, because I mean that's what they took from this. I was actually surprised that I don't know the bondage sex world with any sort of knowledge whatsoever based there, but I didn't even know that would be a crime. I was surprised when this came to be a crime when he was charged with it. So it'll be a very good day for him. I think you're probably maybe looking at a hung jury. If you let me do my prediction, if I looked into the Stein of knowledge right now, it tells me hung jury. So if he does that, the governor will come out and claim that everything is over, the witch hunt is done, and he's moving on to bigger and better things, and everybody should just fall in line. I think the House will roll their eyes. I think you might even, a Stein of knowledge prediction, you could see another report out of that committee in the next week or so. Before the end of next week, you might even see another report before the end of session. But I don't know that is. But I look for that. So I think the answer is, as far as his guilt or innocence or how he's viewed by the public, it matters a lot. As far as whether he will be, as far as what it means for impeachment, I kind of not sure that it matters. I think obviously everybody thought this was saltier. It was more the other stuff was more substantive, lying on that form to the state. Those are all things I think the Ethics Commission are probably what, if he is out of office, that's what he'll be out of office for. So I don't know, but I would say the other stuff is not as sexy, but it is more substantive. But this is a world of spin, and everything is going to everything's going to spin. I think when you look at it, the Constitution did not say the St. Louis Circuit Attorney is the one who decides whether to charge a governor and impeach him. It's the House of Representatives. I think the Constitution says it's not the St. Louis City Circuit Court that decides whether a governor stays or goes. It's the Senate and the 5 of the 7 eminent jurists. So I think that's what will end up happening there. And I think I've heard a lot of folks say his day in court. Yeah, I think that's a compelling argument. I mean, they're not dumb guys over there that work for the governor, but I think his day in court is next week, and then I think his day in court for the House is coming, and I think his day in court will be in front of those senators and the jurists that they pick. So I think he will have his day in court, and I think he should. I mean, I think that there's no doubt that he should. I think the motions you're going to see Monday, today, I don't know if they do them. I don't really know if they do them Friday or Monday, but we'll see. I think it's mostly just PR stuff. I think that I think it's kind of funny if you're the guys for the governor, you're sitting in a room and you're like, the PR guys or the political guys are like, I wonder if the lawyers will say this. And they're like, no, God, they'll never say that. Well, let's try it. They've said all the other stuff. So they floated out in the meeting, and then sure enough, the governor's lawyers come out and say it, and they're like, no way. So I think you'll see some of this is PR. Some of this is probably in case is found guilty. They're setting up some things for appeal, I think, and that's just kind of normal lawyer speak. But I'm not sure that any of this stuff is actually going to matter when it comes down to impeachment. His lawyers, stuff they say even about me. Look, lawyers lie. I mean, they just do. I mean, if you were believing, I think that your lawyer should be able to say what they want. I think it's always why the best defense here was him out of office to make the defense, not in office. So his in office defense is makes the state look bad, makes everything look bad. But they should be able to. I mean, but if you believe their lawyers and what they say, you'd believe that she dreamt it, which the House came out and had to correct them publicly and say that she didn't. You might believe Stacey Newman somehow concocted this when I think the texts, from what I saw, were well after this matter was brought out in the public eye when Representative Newman contacted her. George Soros. You would have believed any of the 15 times they've told everyone in the Capitol this case will be dismissed next week. Or my favorite, if you believe what lawyers say, then you would believe that it's actually legal to take pictures of women naked without their permission. I don't think you should take that piece of legal advice to heart. If you try it, I think it will not go well. The last thing, I think, again, he should be able to have his defense. It is what it is. But lawyers lie. I mean, what is the old joke I heard one time? I think I was maybe at Patty Malone's, and the lawyer came in. He goes, "Well, I'm a lawyer, and I have been a lawyer for 10 years, and I have never told a lie. I've been honest as day is long." And the old joke says, then the prostitute overheard him and says, "You know what? I've been a prostitute for 5 years, and I'm a virgin." Yeah, think about it. I mean, lawyers do what they do, and if you were in trouble, you'd want your lawyer to be just as aggressive and say off-the-wall stuff. But again, don't let lawyers work you. You work the lawyers. It's like, it's in the comment, yeah, I think the bots are funny. I think some of them actually make for fun stuff. Some of them, I think it's sad if you're going to make up a fake account and not put your name on it, then not be funny. Like, if you're not funny and then you make up a fake account, and the sad thing is I think there's some old people on Twitter that think the bots are like real and they would converse with them. Now, some of the media people, keep in mind, not everybody in the media will be sad to see Eric Greitens go. Like every politician, they have a few folks they feed things to. Some of them, I think, converse with the bots because they want to, because it kind of sets up what they want to see. But remember, work the bots. Don't let the bots work you. And if you see a funny one, direct message to me, because I'm collecting my kind of thing. I think the funny ones are good. Don't do the ones, and maybe it's because I'm in. I work around people that know Photoshop. Don't send me bad Photoshop. Do good Photoshop. I'm picky, but do good Photoshop. Make it funny. I would rather have a funny meme about me than an unfunny meme about you any day of the week, twice on Sunday. Don't worry about it. I saw a comment, "You can't resign." Look. These are not cheap lawyers. The whole operation is big money. And look, I don't think most people I know, even successful people, could afford this legal bill. He's got to have folks funded, and I don't think they're going to fund it if he's out of office. Which is why if he's impeached, I think the real issue for if you're Eric Greitens and you're just taking a walk yourself, I think you're thinking, okay, what do I do if I win this case and they impeach me and I'm out of office? How do I fund my defense for probably the more serious legal case that's coming? And I don't know the answer to that. That's something that he'll probably have to think about for himself there. But I think that may be a bigger concern if you're him. I saw that one. I wonder how many of those bots come from the second floor. I wonder. I think that may be something that comes out one day. But I'd much rather have him do a funny one at me as an unfunny one at you, or do them at me as opposed to somebody that would care. So, but speaking of big money, the freedom to work thing is big money. They saw some of the numbers on that. My God, that is big money. And then here's the thing: if you start early and you pay a reputable firm, you will get on the ballot. I think that's in Missouri. That's just the way it is. If you start early and you pay a reputable firm, you'll get on the ballot. I think we've seen that with most people. If you start late or you don't have a reputable firm, you don't get on the ballot. And freedom to work, as it's called. So let me break it down for you. Right to work is essentially the government's going to pass a law that says if you're a business owner, right now you do an agreement with your union, you do one agreement, you're done. Other places, everybody can get paid different things, and you can negotiate with 500 people or however you want to do it. Right to work is something that hurts labor unions. Some business groups say it helps them. Most business groups say it helps them. Some say it doesn't. Freedom to work is kind of the same thing. It's just whose semantics, what word change you're going to go with. So there's big money that they released, and that is legit money. And you wonder if that's how closely it's tied to how close that's tied to the governor's defense or not. But that was no small dollars. I also think it's going to be very interesting to see. Now that is moving through and there's going to be big money behind it, let's see how many, when they didn't get on the ballot, that was interesting. And I'll just I'll give you a Stein of Knowledge prediction right now. And by the way, I have like 6 Steins you've sent me, and I'm pumped. Next week's midweek update, I'm going to show you one of the coolest ones. I didn't even know this Stein existed. Thank you to everyone for sending the Steins. I will thank you personally. It has been an awesome thing to get the packages and open them up and see these cool different types of Steins. But anyway, I think what you will see on that is they didn't get on the ballot, and there was this kind of kerfuffle about there was some sort of fight or back and forth. My Stein of Knowledge prediction is that there's more to that story, and you're going to see more of that story come out over the next few days. That particular story about the guys collected signatures getting in a scuffle, I think there's more to that story. The Stein of Knowledge tells me that there is. We'll see. Let's talk a little bit about the budget. Wow, Republicans funded education. I mean, that is something that if they don't do, they get attacked on. If they do, I don't ever know if they get the right amount of credit for. But if you're going to bash them for not funding it, you should credit them when they do fund it. And I also think it was interesting. I know one thing I noticed about the budget. I think the governor's budget was generally disregarded, but I'm not sure that happens. Maybe not. They're not quite so gleeful about it, but that happens sometimes. The governor will administer this budget after the legislature's gone through withholdings. But yeah, he was sidelined. But that's not. While that is odd, he was at this sidelined. It happens a lot where he does get sidelined, and then the legislature gets sidelined when they leave town. This legislature, though, last time the governor said he was canceling their vacations. This time the legislature may be canceling the governor's vacation and sticking around. So we'll see what happens. With that. But I think the real key to this budget is, one, Republicans funded the formula. And I think that, look, if you're going to bash them for it, you got to give them credit for it. And number two, I don't think Mizzou's anybody's bitch anymore. Mizzou's on the comeback. If you were putting stocks in state institutions, buy Mizzou. Mizzou is going up. Good days ahead for Mizzou. They've had bad days. We've talked about them on the show, on the radio, on everything else. Mizzou's good days. I think the lesson out of this is Mizzou's not your bitch anymore. And I think that they're earning their place at the table, and I think that's a credit to the institution. Biggest political news of the day. The governor says he's not moving any of these other initiative petitions. Now, Right to Work has a legislative aspect to it. So Right to Work may get moved by the legislature. I think everything is kind of dependent upon the House and the governor's situation, and Right to Work will spin out of that from what it looks like to me. But the governor said pot, very popular amongst liberals, motivates them. If you show them vote in November, you can smoke pot legally, or you could, if you've got a medical condition, you can. Minimum wage, big thing that motivates some labor unions. I don't know where it moves up to, maybe 11, 12, something like that. But a significant minimum wage. And then Clean Missouri. I think Clean Missouri is more, if it passes, it may help Democrats. I've always said I don't think the gerrymandering is as real as Democrats make it out to be. I think that it's just the geography. When you have densely populated populations lined up on the state lines, it's tough. But the big thing is the governor's like, I'm sticking them all on November, which is a huge screw you to Josh Hawley. That's a declaration of war. But the problem for the governor is, so you want to hit Josh Hawley. So you want to try to put these Democrat things that probably every state does this. Republicans have no control in California. They put stuff on the ballot. Democrats have been relegated to superminority status. They put stuff on the ballot in Missouri. Very normal thing that people do when their party has no power is they use the only way they can, which is go to the ballot. But Greitens putting these on there is a straight sign to the Washington folks. He doesn't care. Doesn't care about the Senate seat. He has no problem with them losing it. And number two, here's the problem, I think, if you're Greitens. Everything you do now has a reverb. It is like every day is an override vote. Remember back in the day when Nixon was there and all the House members were senators for a day or a week or so at a time when they were doing an override. Now the whole place is like is everybody there matters, and that's such a fun time when that's the case. But you've just hurt Paul Whelan. That is not good for Paul Whelan. If you're Paul Whelan, the governor's announcement does not sit well with you. If, let's say, Tony Luetkemeyer, the governor's guy, the 34th, running to replace Senator Schaaf, those are not good moves for you. And I think the Democrat is probably favored because Rucker doesn't have much of a primary. The Republicans are going to battle it out, whether it's Harry Roberts or Tony Luetkemeyer. Big boost for Luetkemeyer, getting Schmidt's endorsement. But coming out of that, it's going to be a big deal because those things are going to help, and that's going to matter. If you're Bill Kidd in Eastern Jackson County, not good day for you. That's not helpful. If you're Steve Helms down in Springfield, this stuff is not good for you. The governor did you no favors. He may have been shooting at Holly, but he will hit some other Republicans. And if that right to work thing's on the ballot, the Democrats have had the perfect storm ran against them a couple different times here. And we've talked before about how Trump's the perfect storm for Democrats because union guys love him, and he keys on a lot of things. Obama was a perfect storm in the whole country to hurt Democrats. But you leave these things on there. A president in office, the governor with problems, either just removed or still there. You now start to see Republicans in that perfect storm. And then there's no one going to take a majority, but you're talking seats that they don't have planned for are going to be in play. And if Senator McCaskill on the ballot, she's a very good politician. Steve Weber's doing a great job running that operation. You could see some problems. So the governor may have been shooting to blow up Holly, but he may have blown up Jeff City, which is what he said he would do all along. So we'll see. I don't know. Okay, a couple of things. Maria Chappelle-Nadell, yeah, I heard about her. I don't know what all she said, but hey, look, what did it do for Aaron Baker? I mean, she attacked Aaron Baker last session, and Aaron Baker, there's a guy that said he was going to throw every lobbyist down the steps of the Capitol, like in the side of Thomas Jefferson, and Maria attacked him, and Baker got hired by the guy. So, I mean, it is a career booster, I think, for all involved, and maybe we'll see if I can catch on to some of that Aaron Baker rocket ship and see what it does for me. We'll see. Rachel, great job. Did a great job on the show. Thank you, everybody, for watching. She was outstanding. I got a little stubble. But see, I grow facial hair kind of like Amish women grow leg hair. It's wildly embarrassing, but I didn't have to shave because I didn't do the show. We'll be back. You're stuck with me this week. Huge guest. It's going to be outstanding. I look forward to telling you a bit more about it. I will close, though. Buddy of mine passed. I've probably been a little more emotional. If you got a text from me and it's a little odd, or maybe it's a little more sentimental than normal. Charles Scott, a lot of you Capitol folks know, was one of my dearest friends and a mentor, and somebody that I would not be talking to you right now if not for him. He was died in a plane crash. He got laid to rest the end of last week. He is a great guy and somebody that meant a lot to me personally, and his memory means a lot to me now. And I want to thank folks that reached out to me and sent a kind word or a picture of us from back in the day. He was a veteran and a father and just a terrific person, and somebody that has a very special place in my heart no matter where we were in life. And I will greatly. The thought of him was always a security blanket in the back of my mind. And the fact he's gone it stings a little. And I want to thank everybody that sent me a text or an email or something over the last few days thinking about him. It meant a lot to me. So thank you all, and we'll see you Sunday on This Week in Missouri Politics.